Okay, in this video, I'm going to talk about when you didn't have a good role model growing up, and maybe still don't, for romantic relationships, healthy romantic relationships. You know, how to have one, how to be in one, which ones to avoid. You know, it doesn't have to be romantic relationships. It could be friendships and work relationships, just how to deal with other people, how to be, what to watch out for. You know, that's a lot, yeah. But, you know, to cover, but if you had a parent or parents that just didn't talk about these kinds of things, you know, or anything really, didn't, you know, prepare you for life, and later on you really didn't have anybody to help you, or maybe you did and they were just, you know, in the same kind of situation as you, so that they couldn't really offer that much help themselves. Okay, now what was on my mind to start off with that had me on this was, I don't know, a week or so ago, and I was thinking about when I was young. I'm talking a young kid, I loved to read romance novels. Okay, that truck got a little close. Yeah. But I did. I love to to read romance novels. These days you can actually read them. I'm getting this backwards. You can actually watch some of them on like Hallmark Channel. You know, they turned them into like a series into, you know, the book. The book was a series and they turned it into a series on TV. Yeah, on cable. Anyway. Okay, but that wasn't how I started off. Yeah, I guess when I was a little kid, I was really interested in how people relate to one another. And I'm talking like second grade. I think it was second grade. I remember being in the library a lot, looking at mythology, okay, and finding books, and they were in a different older kids section, but I'd still get them and check them out, and I was always worried that the librarian wouldn't let me check those books out. And I remember getting Little Women, and it was just a little bit too deep for me, but I still try to read it, you know, that kind of thing. But maybe it was like this for a lot of people, that where they learned about, you know, any kind of relationship was through a book. You know, it depends on how old you are. We didn't have that much TV. I'm 54, so we didn't have that much on TV that you could, you know, model after, except maybe I Dream of Jeannie, you know. Okay, well, there was Leave It to Beaver, and let's see what else. My Three Sons. You know, those were basically where you could see any kind of, you know, domestic partnership, I guess, you know. But what were we learning way back then? You know, women would, you know, Jeannie would call him master. That was none of those were really healthy for, at least how things are today. And I don't think it was healthy. I don't think it would ever be healthy for people to think one is dominant and the other one isn't, you know, just because of their gender, really. Okay, there's a sign over there that says, if you don't like where you live, move. You're not a tree. I think that's cute. But anyway, yeah, so where did you learn? Now, I remember, you know, like I said, when I was young, I started reading these romance novels, and I don't know how I found one. It was the Harlequin. The Harlequin has changed a lot over the years, you know. But, yeah, there was there was one, and I picked it up, and I just started reading it, and next thing I know, I had an addiction to it when I was a kid. And I think I also remember Archie. The Archies, and that was about relationships. Why was I so obsessed with them when I was a kid? I don't know. But okay, what were we learning? I mean, you might not have ever read a romance novel from back then, and then there were also like Gothic, historical romance novels, Gothic romance novels, all this. And you know, as I got older, I found them, and my mother she wouldn't buy them, but I would buy them when I was a kid, you know, a teenager, and she would, you know, sneak off and get them and read them. But, you know, I think she was just too shy to talk about, you know, relationships. And like I said, she would sneak and get my romance novels and read them, and she never said a word to me. I never say a word to her. And she probably should have told me, at that age, when I was that age, that this isn't something I should be reading, especially like this gothic and historical romance. Oof, yeah. But where was I going with this? Okay, where I was going with this was that romance novels, back then at least, these days they changed a lot. But back then they weren't setting up a good relationship, any of those kinds. I'm talking generalizations, of course, and this is just my opinion, and read the disclaimer and all that. But what they were doing was, most of them were always setting up like the male was domineering, and he had, if you ask me, these days people would say he was narcissistic. And, he would dominate the woman and, treat her like a child. All these kinds of things, really negative. I mean, very negative. But they would make it to where it was romantic. And that this is what women should, go for, is the kind of man who's really dominant and runs the show, treats her like a child. Even they can be physically, what comes down these days, abusive. But we were taught, through these books, not all of them, of course, like I said, that this is how relationships go. And then, of course, some of them would try to say that she changed him. How many people know these days you don't really change people? If they start off like that might be a bad thing. Especially if you study narcissism. Yeah. And now younger people who, didn't go through that, they have all this internet and they can watch whatever, they practically watch whatever they want and find out about all kinds of things. It's much more, I would say, I don't know, it's much more graphic, I guess. I don't know. It goes more into an extreme. Although those books did too, believe me, they still do these days. But then you always have these visuals and the relationships. You don't know if you haven't had anybody model relationships, and you see that kind of relationship, and maybe you saw that kind of relationship. The model that you should have had was in this kind of relationship, bad relationship. You don't know that that's any different. And these days, I've noticed also, when I was, like in my, when I was young, you saw a lot of books and stuff, and people talking about what is a good relationship, what is a healthy relationship kind of thing. And you'd find a little bit of books every blue moon. They wouldn't really call it narcissism or anything like that. But you would find some about the bad types of people. That it kind of turned to that way. And then, there's a little bit of a combination. But these days, I think, is steering more toward what are the bad people, what kind of bad relationships you can find, and not talking enough about healthy relationships, And there needs to be a balance. There needs to be that so people can understand what to watch out for and what to look for. Now, books used to say that. I still have some. But anyway, what do you look for in a healthy relationship? Well, I do, I do videos on narcissism, so those are definitely what you try to avoid. But what are you looking for? I think I'll start doing more videos on that topic. On what would you look for, and which of course would not be true advice, because I'm not giving advice on my videos or anything, or any kind of counseling or anything. It's just what I have learned, what would be, for years, what is my experience. So, if you want to subscribe to this channel, just click the circle. If you want to watch another video, click on the rectangles. If you want to share on your own social media, feel free to do so if you can. And I'll talk to you all in another video.